Greetings, dear ones, and welcome to and happy solstice to you all. Those of you who are familiar with the holiday, holiday, I do say holiday because in ancient traditions and throughout time, man did celebrate this day, this longest day, and moreover, it was the recognition and the acknowledgement of the seasons and cycles of the earth and her planetary companions and family, depending on which tradition you're looking at. And this is, a very significant point in time where we are able to recognize that that movement of the sun's power and rays and warmth and radiation are what allow us to live, certainly on this planet, allow us to grow food, allow us to move about in daylight hours without artificial light, as it was, for thousands of years. This was recognized and celebrated as that length of daylight because as we move now, the sun is reversing and the days are going to get shorter and shorter and shorter until we, again, the winter solstice. And that was celebrated also because not only, again, the seasons and the cycles, but in remembrance of the fact that we are not going to get darker and darker and darker until there is nothing else but darkness. Although, and I'm kind of chuckling because from certain perspectives, that seems like what is happening right now is this, darkening of our world, or in many instances, people see it as the overtaking of our world by the dark. And when I refer to the dark, I really am talking about destructive forces on multiple levels that we'll talk about in a little bit. But it really is a question of kind of being on the construction or creation path, or being on a destructive um, kind of control, of course, and ownership rather than the creative, expansive, enhancing, inclusive growth path versus kind of an temporary power, a temporary control, because it's been held by people or groups that have come and gone, much like the movement of the sun and the moon and the earth and all the other planets in our solar system, not to mention the rest of our galaxy and beyond. But those are very transitory. Those people, those groups, those people, whether it was a king, an emperor, a pope, a conqueror of some sort, and their cohorts or their companions, it did not ever last very long in the grand course of history. And this is the last hurrah of that way of being and of that destructive to the earth, destructive to humans, destructive to all the different aspects of nature, destructive to our environment, destructive to our deep sense of who we are and what we wish to live in and as, destruction of the human, ability to create music, art, ideas, imagination, innovation. Again, all of those do lead to a more growing, becoming way of being versus this old way that we've been exploring. Nothing wrong with it. We chose to explore that. We chose to have every angle and experience of it as humans, and that we've accomplished. The next level would be just complete world war, world destruction, and human destruction as a result. The earth is going to be fine no matter what, but we, the humans on it, have the potential to cease to exist. My deep sense and all of the information that I'm receiving from the ancients, which is an intergalactic council of beings who are very involved and oversee and assist in the process of human evolution. I'm sorry, not just human evolution, it's the evolution of every sentient being on this planet. And in the perspective of this work, trees, plants, insects, animals, clouds, everything is sentient in that there is a soul beingness and there is a sense of self and there is the ability to be in relationship. And to me, that is my definition of sentience. And so all of these parties are here involved in this evolutionary process. Perhaps they are from other galaxies, other worlds, other realms, other kingdoms, which interface with this planet and have done since the beginning in one form or another. And all are involved. Each and every species, each and every being, each and every participant in this grand venture is in the process of evolution in one form or another and has the choice to not evolve. This is a free will universe, and if that is your choice, that is perfectly fine. And even if that means destruction of much in that choice, because we are all constantly choosing. And we are choosing right now how we want our future to be. We are choosing how we want this earth to continue. We are choosing how deeply we have chosen to evolve that base level human nature aspect, or those base human nature aspects of us, so that we are more we're living from and as a society, as a species, as a member of the larger community of Earth, in a much more mature, much more enriched, much more expanded experience or state of humanness. And as a result, those first and second chakra issues that correspond to that base, destructive, survival-based way of human nature must also evolve. And what we're talking about is the threat to one's life, certainly with the level of wars and conflicts and threat to our food and our air and our water. Our very survival is certainly being attempted to be destabilized. But again, we do have that choice of which road we want to go on. And this beautiful remembrance of the sun and its power and its illumination is here for us to utilize today. certainly in the northern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere is the exact opposite to us, so they celebrate in a different way and have done throughout time. The ancient cultures in Latin America and all of those that experience something different. But it is still the cycling, still the seasons, still the sun movement, the other planets movement that is and has been watched constantly since man has been part of this whole affair. So the word solstice itself in Latin means sun stood still. And there is actually a brief moment in this day when the sun stands still before it starts moving in the opposite direction. And from this longest day, days begin to be shorter. And it's very, very interesting that we have had 2 days of X level flares, sun flares, solar flares. Now, X level is the maximum that in the measurement of solar flares. You can look it up. It's on NASA, hopefully nasa.com, space.com, earthsky.com. There are many different sources where you can understand what solar flares are. Suffice to say that when a solar flare it extends itself from the sun, it reaches very far out into space, bringing with it its radiation, among its other characteristics. And oftentimes they can be extremely large, but if they're facing away from the Earth, we aren't affected as much. In this case, both of these X level flares, solar flares, were pointing at the United States. I'm sorry, at the Earth. And we can see the effects of that in shortwave radio. If you've noticed that your phones and computers are a little bit wonky, supposedly it doesn't reach that far into our systems, but it certainly does into our physical systems, into our energy fields. And so you might feel a burst of energy. You might feel even a little too much energy, in which case, you would want to pull inward, or the tendency would be to want to pull inward and stay inside, kind of safe and well. Our fields have electromagnetic grids, or a large part of our energy field is made up of electromagnetic grid, and so that is directly affected when we have a large solar flare. So just notice how you're feeling. Please make sure and hydrate, not just because most of the United States, at least, and other countries are experiencing a huge heat wave, but because when our energy fields are activated by anything, whether it's something in the atmosphere or whether it's something in our immediate lives, emotionally, physically, otherwise, there is movement. It's kind of like shaking up a box full of items. And in order to allow for the resettling, we really need to flush our systems with water that allows for that flow and movement, and our energy fields to kind of right themselves after that, as well as the fact that when any huge disruption occurs to our system on any level, and that movement, that shaking, that agitation is experienced, then the opportunity for anything that is not beneficial to fall away is there. So as we are experiencing this longest day of the year, and combined with these solar flares, we have the opportunity to kind of burn away, or allow to be burned away, that which is impeding our forward movement in our lives individually and collectively. So, as always, I honor and respect and am in deep gratitude for any and all work you do on yourselves, in our world, in any way. It Every little thing makes a difference. Every little movement, every choice makes a difference. And we're seeing this because on a larger basis, we have galactic forces that are involved in this process as well. And it's very, very interesting that I don't know the period of time that from the last time this has been able to be seen, and I don't know that it ever has. But we are coming up on a day next week when between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. we are able to actually see the very core of our galaxy, the very center of our galaxy. And that's on the 25th of June. So next week. And this is an invitation not only to see the inner core of the galaxy, but that has been very present this week. Our own inner core, the very essence of who we are, who we've always been, who we always will be as a soul, that comes with us each existence, each life, if you want to look at it that way, each exploration. And with each experience of an existence, that knowledge, that feel, that expansion adds to our essence as we're moving along on our journey as souls. And so that accumulative is sitting within you. Someone was asking me yesterday, and it is not on the level of the chakra system. The chakra system and the energy field in its multiple levels are on a different energetic and spiritual level of your being. Your core, your essence, is on a much deeper level. And it is located, if you were to draw a midline in your torso down from your head and then across your body, where those two lines would meet, which is generally right in the very center of your torso. It's below your third chakra and your innate. If you've been with me before, you know that your innate is 3 finger widths below that round bone where your ribs join together, and your core is below that. And it's generally very difficult to feel your core unless you've done a lot of energetic work, and specifically core essence work, which is one of the specialties of the Brennan School of Healing. I don't know of any other that does such extensive work with the core, the essence. And so this core of us, this essence of us that, as I said, goes with us through every experience as a soul, and expands and grows and becomes more, is very present right now, because one of the evolutionary factors that is going to bring us to this new way, to this new earth, is the expression of that essence. Now, the chakra system, in each chakra, they can be damaged when we're young in such a way through the wounds of our childhood that they actually are not spinning at the ideal speed and rate in order to be the transducer that they need to be of all the energy that's around us, through everything on this planet and off. And our system takes that energy and transduces it, meaning it converts it to a metabolizable level for our physical body. So each chakra has corresponding organs and tissues that it feeds, and in the optimum allows for health and energy and longevity. So unlike the chakras, your essence cannot be damaged. What can happen is that we build a covering over that to protect it when we're young, and as a result disconnect or distance ourselves from that essence of us. And ultimately, as we're each individually going through the transmutation levels that we choose to, it will allow those distortions of our psycho-emotional and psycho-spiritual pieces to be transmuted, transfigured even, to such an extent where we are able to refeel and move from and allow expression of who we are as our essence. Oftentimes you can feel yourself there if you're doing something that you absolutely love, is completely and utterly natural to you, and it's been there since as far back as you can remember as a child, that this was a characteristic, this was a way of you, this was a natural expression of you. And ideally, as we're moving into this evolved way of being, each person will be able to follow their essence, not be constricted or restricted or restrained from doing so by finances, by society, by other religious or beliefs system practices. But instead that each of us, and that was one of the messages today, to live our life full out, who we are, what we desire, what we would jump out of bed to do every single day, not just to make money or pay bills, but because that's what fills us, that's what allows us to walk the purest form of us, to live the purest form of us. And we saw a lot of that happening during COVID, when people were not working regular 9-to-5 corporate jobs, and so many new businesses, so many small businesses, so many individual entrepreneurs, and just innovative ways of expressing yourself, doing what you love, and making money. And during the previous presidential administration, there were so many different openings and avenues and financial support for having your own business, for small businesses, allowing that expression of each of us. I go back to all the time Star Trek world, where they're talking about 300 years in the future, we can choose our careers or do what we love, not held back by lack of funds to go for the certification or the education or the degree, or lack of accessibility, or there's a lot of different things that can keep us from the learning, the training, the knowledge in order to express or more fully express that essence self. So when you're sitting and seeing all that's going on, Star Trek is a great touchstone. If you watch the shows, both the original and the Next Generation, Not so much the following ones, but you can really see and understand how our society is different without the lack and the scarcity and the money based and the, getting the most toys is in order to win. That is no longer the basis of their society, what will be our society. So this sun and the core of the galaxy is very much related to our own essence. Also, the third chakra is always seen as a representation of that sun energy as well, the outward expression of our sense of who we are and our place in the world and in the universe. So one of those symbols is the sunflower, of course, that follows the sun. There are many there are many plants that do, but visibly you can actually watch throughout the day a sunflower move and follow the sun, as many other little flowers also will open or close with the sun. An article came across my desk yesterday, I believe, the study of whether trees actually know when the solstice is. Trees are amazing beings, and there is a great deal they know that we do not, and that we don't know that they know. So, in our container today, we have not only the longest day, we have the sun flare, we have the opportunity as we're moving towards this 25th to see the very core of our galaxy, the very center of our galaxy. Another mystical but very real animal master is the dragon. Dragons have been very, very present for this past week, moving into today. Fire breathing, bringing that energy as well. Another always a representation of summer are the summer storms. And yesterday here in this area, we had a doozy, and it got very, very quickly dark. The storm came, and a lot of lightning, a lot of wind, a lot of thunder, dropped, like literally this is one of those where the heavens opened and dropped a huge amount of rain in a very short period of time. Thereafter cleared, the sunset was visible, and even more so, we had not only a full rainbow in this area, but a double rainbow, which many people were able to snap photos of. And so, we have the sun always coming out of the darkness. The light always comes back. That's the whole celebration of the solstices. And that celebration of also the illumination and the insight that it brings. So that's going to be in our container as well. And, all of this combined in an alchemical container, the trials and tribulations of humanity, what we're going through right now, the storms, the political and social and politics, international politics, all of this turmoil, all of this dark storming is ultimately giving way to light and to the very essence of who we are. But we cannot go to that beautiful light and that all the wonder and the amazing aspects of humanity until and unless the really destructive, base, primitive aspects of our human nature is still running the show. So we're in the process of evolving that. You may find in your personal life issues or things are arising surrounding first chakra, very survival, your physicality here on the planet, your home, your environment in which you live. Those, the very determinants of whether you're going to survive or not. Finances, although that's also into the second chakra issues. And those second chakra issues of control and sexual dominance and just fury and destructiveness as a result of that fury or that rage. Also our ability to be creative and to cooperate and collaborate with our creativity, allow that creativity to flow. There's wondrous things as well as those base, primitive, destructive aspects of those both first and second chakra. So we have these beautiful natural cycles and seasons that plants and trees and animals and our weather systems are intertwined with and follow and recognize. And one of the beautiful ways in which ancient cultures and even to this day people celebrate and acknowledge and recognize this planetary happening is through stories, both stories of ancestors, folk tales, stories about the sun itself. And I'm just, if you'll indulge me, I'm going to just quickly read a couple so that those are in our container for today as well. One of the ones that I'm always fascinated with is the folk tale about the vulture and how the vulture lost its beautiful feathers, because before this occurrence it was the most beautiful animal or the most beautiful bird on the planet. Native Americans, this is a story that goes to many of the clans across the country, and it's credited with assisting in some of the most important aspects of creation, the creation of the land, and efforts to bring fire to the first people. Vulture is a very significant animal, and it's certainly been very present. On one day last week, there showed up at least 6 different vultures in the several areas that I was driving through. And many people are very, very put off by vultures, but other cultures have recognized their abilities and their gifts, and even now science is recognizing how significant they are in the protection of humans and other animals by taking in, and being able to digest and metabolize bacteria and viruses and parasites, very destructive things to our world, or to our bodies as well. So the story goes that in the earliest of times, the sun lived very close to the earth, so close in fact that life upon the earth was becoming unbearable. The animal world got together and decided to do something about it. They wanted to move the sun further away. Excuse me. The fox was the first to volunteer, and he grabbed the sun in his mouth and began to run to the heavens. After a short while, the sun became too hot, burning the fox's mouth, and he stopped. To this day, the inside of the fox's mouth is black. Then the opossum volunteered. He wrapped his tail around the sun and began running toward the heavens. Before long, though, the sun became too hot, burning its tail, and he had to stop. To this day, the opossum has no hair upon its tail. It was then that the vulture stepped forward. Vulture was the most beautiful and powerful of birds. Upon its head was a beautiful mantle of rich feathering that all the other birds envied. Knowing that the earth would burn up unless someone moved the sun, the vulture placed its head against it and began to fly to the heavens. With powerful strokes of its wings, it pushed and pushed the sun further and further up into the heavens. Though it could feel its crown feathers burning, the vulture continued until the sun was set at a safe distance in the sky away from the earth. Unfortunately, Vulture lost its magnificent head of feathers for eternity. And that's always been a very special and loved tale to me. And I hope it allowed you to also open up to the cultures that you are connected to through your heredity, through your blood, and tapping into that ancestral knowledge, that ancestral way of bringing forward not merely explanations of what we observe and how our world works, but moreover in the recognition of the knowledge and the sentience and the participation and the power and majesty and special aspects of each and every participant, each and every animal, each and every tree, each and every flower, each and every patch of land, soil, microbes, everything here is participating in this process. And so I really invite you to just have a seat on your sits bones. And you can find those are kind of in the very center of your bottom. And if you kind of rock around a little bit, you can feel them. Ideally, like your feet on the floor. And that allows for the union and communion with earth energies. And just kind of roll your shoulders back. I know everybody's used to hearing that. And if you can, just allow your shoulder blades to come together a little bit. Even if rolling your shoulders doesn't work so much, just bring your shoulder blades to your awareness and allow them perhaps to move a little closer to one another. What this will do is it not only opens up your chest and allows you to breathe, allows your diaphragm space, but it also opens your channel, your main channel, or also your kundalini. There are multiple structures that align with your spine, and so this allows both for physical flow of energy as well as more energetic or esoteric and spiritual or mystical energy as we're sitting in this incredible container with dragons and sun flares and the energy and gifts that the sun gives us and the changing of the cycles and the seasons and the very core, the brilliant core of our galaxy and our very core essence. The brilliance of the sun, no matter what storms, no matter how dark the day may become with storms, the sun is always there. The light is always there. The warmth is always there. The energy is always there. The radiation is always there. And it is limitless. And we have the ability to access that, use it. And so on this day, I invite you to honor and give deep gratitude for all the many benefits that we receive from the sun, from the changing seasons, cycles, movement of the planets within our very solar system, for each and every participant on this earth, in this earth, around this earth, beyond this earth, that are directly involved in this earth project and its evolution. Another beautiful representation of the dragon is a horned toad that visited a very dear friend of mine. We kind of joined together in our listening to and our visits by animals. So she had a horned toad visit her for quite a while. And it's a type of lizard. As lizards do, they relate to the sun, they bathe in the sun, they are deeply connected to the sun. And we're also going to invite in that energy and fire that is necessary for the alchemical process. The fires of transmutation, changing our baser nature to a spiritualized, enriched, enabled nature. And the oils gave us a beautiful message today as well. They've already been chosen. And what they're saying is that as you know, as you feel the very essence of you within divine protection, it will enable you to be motivated solely from, through, and by the truth of you, thereby accessing the wise one's knowledge and guidance through your innate, and feel the relief as you anchor into you and on this planet. Allowing your heart's desires, allowing you to have your heart's desires fearlessly, or to follow your heart's desires fearlessly. Bringing who you are into the future, and walking in all humility. And humility in the evolved sense does not mean humble or, decreasing yourself in any way. Humility in this future sense is sitting and or standing in the awe of that, how you, as the song goes, feel small in front of, a massive mountain or mountain range or the ocean. And when we look at the entire galaxy and universe and have awe at the fact that this continues to move and change and destroy and create on a constant basis. It is not one and the other. It is one as the other. As things move out of existence, other things are moving into existence, each aspect. So as it appears that our world is falling apart and things are getting very dark and the destruction of so much of what we know, also know and feel and tap into and become aware, open your eyes and your feeling centers to all that is being created in the simultaneously, and allow that essence of you to come forth so that you are creating your life in the image that you wish, and thereby contributing to this new earth and new way. So just feel your body sitting on the chair. And I invite you to just do a scan, not with your eyes, not with your mind, not even with your third eye, but simply physically feeling. If it helps you to actually touch your body, great, but you really want to connect to as much of your body as you can, just noticing. Nothing more, not analyzing, not criticizing, not judging, not complaining, simply noticing. I'm very aware of my back against the chair. I'm very aware that because there's a curve in the chair, there's a bit of my back that is not connected to the chair, and so I'm feeling that space as well. I'm aware of my feet and the shoes that are on my feet. And because they're sandals, also the area of my feet that are not covered by shoes. So really just feel your body. From head to toe or toe to head, whichever feels more comfortable to you, allow your attention to be brought to your body. Initially, it's going to be your outer body. But ideally, as you are coming to more awareness of your body, your internal body will also show up. Tissues, organs, glands even, bones. Perhaps you are fortunate enough to even feel your circulatory system. But we have this ability to feel this exactly. Many of you may know of medical readers who can actually see into the body as an X-ray would, or other scans that we have, machinery. As a true and complete and utter empath, when someone is sitting with me in session, I actually become their body, their energy field, etc., so that I can mirror back to them information that they can then begin to be accustomed to and have, and be able to feel on their own. So oftentimes I do feel specific tissues or organs or systems of the body. And we all have our own abilities. So please allow yourself to feel, physically sensate, experience as much of your internal world as you can. And as you're doing so, again, without labeling, criticizing, judging, commenting upon, simply noticing, simply allowing to be within your awareness. And as you do so, that may allow you to be in body more, and allow the chair or couch or floor, whatever you may be sitting on, to actually do the job of holding you up, so that you don't have to consciously or even unconsciously take on that task, which allows you to drop down and in you even more so, energetically, and Notice your breath. As you've been bringing your awareness to your physical body, has your breath changed? Has it slowed down? Has it elongated? If it is not, I invite you to do so. Oftentimes that allows for more sensation. To just breathe deeply, slowly, and then exhale slowly, deeply, bringing that air completely out of your lungs, expelling it even, if that feels right to you. And then just taking another in your own timing. Should you so choose to extend that out breath longer than the in breath, you may find yourself relaxing even more. You may find your ability to feel yourself and sensate different aspects, parts of you, levels of you. And you may even find that you feel yourself not only within yourself, but within this beautiful configuration of today's container that includes so much of our world, our planetary family, with the sun being such an incredible symbol and representation of the masculine and all that it provides and protects us from the icy cold of space. So nothing to do, no efforting, no work, simply allowing, simply noticing, simply sensating your internal world, your inner verse. And allowing the brilliance and radiance of the very essence of you to come forth. You cannot make that happen, but you can allow it to happen. You may or may not feel anything, but simply in the saying, I am allowing my essence to presence itself, to come forward, to come out, to shine, to radiate its brilliance, its purity, its vastness, for it has been with you through all your soul's experiences in this universe and beyond. And as you're doing so, also stating, I am allowing any insight or illumination, aided by, guided by the brilliance and radiation of the sun, and allow that essence of you to radiate to, let's say, a 10-foot circumference around you in all directions. And again, there is no work, no effort, no goal, no push, no intention. These parts of you do not need your will or your mind, but simply your allowance and your desire to have more of you, to feel more of you, to presence more of you. And then sit back in you and allow the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience of these aspects of you to do what they know best. And simply be along for the ride. And as we invite each essence of all those participating here at this moment, in future time, listening to this recording, all of those who would have liked to attend and were not able to, your essence too is here, is expanding, radiating, extending. And you may or may not feel that widening of the radiance of your essence, now expanding out of the very building you're in, widening to the surrounding areas, neighborhood, streets, buildings, wherever you may be seated, across the land, if you're outside or on in an area that does not have buildings and streets. I'm going to take this a notch deeper. Again, nothing you need do, simply along for the ride of your own energy field, essence self, wider self, all which have greater knowledge and ability. All our ancestors who are standing with us in acknowledgement, recognition, gratitude, celebration. For the sun, all that it gives, all that it does, all that it is. You may notice some heat within you, or not. But should you choose to do so, there is an opportunity for the burning off of that which you no longer choose to be a part of your life, a part of your self. And you don't have to come up with anything, you don't have to name it. Your system knows what you desire and what you wish for. And the sun's energy is irradiating, burning up, burning off, burning out. Anything that is in the way of the fuller expression of your essence self. For we are all in an alchemical process, not only in this moment within this container, but within the entire Earth project. That is why all ingredients are needed. All ingredients of what has been, the way we have been, the exploration of this particular form of duality we chose to explore. Which has run its course, for it is unsustainable. Exemplified by oil and gas, coal, mining precious metals from our earth. They are exhaustible. Whereas the renewable energies such as solar, wind, hydrogen, so many others that are being developed and more discovered each day. There are pockets within our very galaxy and even closer to home in our solar system, that 1 inch square has enough power to run this planet for tens of millions of years. So many. Not only renewable, but inexhaustible sources of energy. Allow yourself to feel and experience the limitless energy of the essence of you. This essence that has been with you through all of time. Time as it's formed in this particular universe in a linear way. And timeless, for you are an eternal being, and eternality has no end. And this very essence of you is that eternality. Some of you may be actually experiencing sensations or energy in one form or another, in the very center of your body. If not, no worries. It is there. It is radiating. It is strengthening its ability to physically presence itself in and through you. The transmissions coming through are amplifying. The potential for you to actually experience or sensate some of that, but you need not. Simply follow, simply allow what your system is guiding you to. For this is the very core of you. And even though it appears and feels as if we are being shaken to the very core, it is and will allow for this core essence of each of us to break free from its shrouds and coverings and imprisonment that we were compelled to create in order to protect it as little ones. And now this beautiful gold core essence of us is being called forth. Not only by each one, but is being called forth as a necessary ingredient in the creation of the new way, the new earth, the new human. And some of you may be experiencing activity in your anchor point, which is physically at the top of your pubic hairline. Some of you may be experiencing your first chakra, which can be energy moving down out of you into the earth. Maybe you feel it in your physical genital area. For all that is coming forth is being anchored in you, through you, onto this planet, here and now. Feel it to be so. And so shall it be. And so it is. Really allow yourself to sit even more deeply in you. Last kind of deep, sensating experience of the essence of you and its breadth and width radiating from you, through you, as you radiating around, over, under, everything and everyone. For your essence is that vital, is that significant, is that important. In this grand scheme. And as you're ready, simply allow your system to lead you, guide you, bring you from what was perhaps a less physical experience back to a more physical experience of this three-dimensional and just to let everyone know, this will be posted here. It will also be on YouTube along with all the 100 and something other videos that have been recorded of these Friday events, episodes, energetic drop-ins. And usually about halfway through, the meditation or deep dive, energetic deep dive begins. And I encourage you to kind of just follow your nose and your intuition, either by the image or the title of any of those videos, and know that those are the exact right combination of energetics and evolutionary collective consciousness theme that you may need at that moment. Also wanted to let everyone know that the upcoming course that will be announced, and it's shape-shifting your world, and we're going to be working with and applying practically evolutionary knowledge, human nature knowledge, your soul's purpose, and we're going to be doing that through the divine feminine way of concentration, communication, cooperation, and collaboration, and communion. And it's going to be very powerful and very accelerated. It's going to be a 4-month course, and yes, it does run through the summertime, but there is a way, of course, of accessing the recordings afterwards, and it is going to be once a month during the summer. So please reach out if that's of any interest to you, and otherwise, please know that, as always, it is with the deepest of honor, gratitude, and love for your presence here on this planet. Happy Sunday, happy solstice, and enjoy this longest day of the year in any and all ways that you choose. Be well.